Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new chapter of Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another chapter, thank you so much for giving me a listen. And if you love the show, drop me a review over on your favorite podcast app, or you can become a patron over at patreon.com/oldmanbrad. In this chapter, I have another Shudder original for you. I'm going to be giving my spoiler-free thoughts on the new film Hellhole, which drops this Friday, August 23rd. Before we roll into that, though, I want to thank everybody who came out to Frightful Fridays this past week. We had a blast watching I Know What You Did Last Summer. And if you don't know what Frightful Fridays is, those of you in the Cincinnati area, on the third Friday of every month, I host a horror screening. And our screening coming up for September is The Final Girls from 2015. This is kind of a meta horror comedy that I love, and I cannot wait to see it on a big screen because I've only ever watched it at home. But come out September 20th at 10 p.m. and let's watch a movie together. All right, let's move into Hellhole.
I didn't choose to drill here. She didn't choose to drill here. We were told to drill here.
And if you find nothing of value?
Oh, we'll find something down there.
Is it methane?
No, it smells organic. Give it another go.
Hey, whoa, stop! Holy shit.
Looks like we hit the meta log.
Hellhole hails from the filmmaking family behind Hellbender and centers on an American-led fracking crew that uncovers a living French soldier frozen in time from a Napoleonic campaign whose body hosts a parasitic monster. This is written and directed by the Addams family, so directed by John Adams and Toby Poser, written by John Adams, Lulu Adams, and Toby Poser. Those of you into horror probably know who the Addams family is. They have had a few movies in the past couple years. Most recently, they had Where the Devil Roams, the Tubi original, which I did an episode on. They had a film a couple years ago on Shudder called Hellbender, and many others. They do a lot of indie horror, kind of grassroots horror films. But their new film, Hellhole, which hits Shudder August 23rd, so this Friday, I'm going to give, as spoiler-free as I can. I don't think, honestly, there's really nothing that can be spoiled much in this movie. If you watch the trailer, you kind of know its premise. Even the premise I gave you, there's a parasite that is infecting people's bodies, basically. This film, it was kind of a mix for me because the Addams Family films, I've seen Hellbender and Where the Devil Roams. They have a certain style to their films, like especially Where the Devil Roams, like the time period is set in the past. The music and everything else is very modern. And the look of their films, like if you watch one of their films or a few of their films, you kind of get a feel for their filmmaking. And this one is no different. Like it feels full like one of their movies. But this one, to me, it was oddest. It was quirky, which isn't bad. Like I found myself with a lot of this dry humor through it, chuckling along, kind of having a good time. Like I said, it's a mixed bag. Like I didn't hate the movie. It was enjoyable for sure, but it was just a quirky, weird, kind of odd, like creature film that is very bloody, by the way. There are a few scenes that are pretty awesome with some body explosions that they don't skimp on the blood for sure. And the opening of this film, the cold open of this film, you're in the Napoleonic era. And one of the soldiers, you kind of hooked me in right at the beginning. One of the soldiers, I'm sitting there looking at him going, I know that face. Who is that? It was Anders Hove, who plays Radu in the Subspecies series. I absolutely love subspecies. When I'm sitting there going, I know your face, and I found out it was him, I was like, yes, they got Radu to play a soldier in their movie. And his scene is great. Like I said, the cold open is great. I'm not going to give away what happens to set you up for the title because it kind of surprised me, but the transition was awesome. And then you fast forward to the present time, and you have this team, and they're digging. They have a group there making sure that they're following proper rules, that environmentals are what they should be, and they end up hitting something as they're drilling down. And when they pull up, they're drilled something. It looks like they went into a body. What is this? So they're like, crap. We need to figure out what's down there. And as they dig, they come up with there's a person in this like cocoon that kind of comes out, and it's a French soldier that we saw earlier, one of them, who is still perfectly fine, and they're like, what? How are you buried down in there, covered in this? So there's a lot of trying to figure out who this is, what's going on. All the while, he just wants to die because he knows there's this parasite in him. And the thing with this parasite, like, it infects you, it takes over your body, but you're still you. It's not like it controls you overly, but a lot of these people, those who get infected, just want it out. They don't want it to be in there. There is some tension along the way. There are some bloody scenes along the way. The way this parasite exits and enters bodies as it goes through, you're like, whoa, they just got violated. But it's an interesting film because it is slowly paced mostly, and it has some quirky dialogue, some quirky jokes. There is a lot of almost a dry humor that I found funny. There's a lot of moments in this movie that I found hilarious, especially Toby Poser's character, who would be either snarky or say, like, crack a joke basically, but she's just stone-faced. And just the delivery was perfect. But on the other hand, there were moments where I kind of wish we would have got more parasite jumping from body to body, a little more of a creature feature, so to speak. I wanted more creature. We get a lot more of it towards the end. It didn't feel like enough throughout. Like, sometimes the pacing kind of fell off where you kind of have a moment you're like, ooh, like one guy explodes and all that's left on the ground is basically his foot. But I just wanted more after that. The pacing just kind of dipped for me. But overall, I did, for the most part, enjoy this quirky, odd film. It definitely felt a lot different than the Addams Family's previous films. It still had the look. It still had the style, the guitar-driven score in between. Some of the editing, for me, didn't work as much in this. There was some these odd like zoom in, zoom outs that caught me off guard. Let's just say that. I think it kind of took me out of the film a bit. So there you go. Hellhole. It was a mixed bag. I still recommend checking it out on Shudder, but it's not my favorite. It was just fine. I think middle of the road, kind of around a 3 out of 5. Had fun with the gore, with the jokes. Getting Anders Hove in there was awesome, but there were moments that just didn't always work for me. So it's a mild recommend. So as I head out, give you another recommendation of something to watch at home. With that, I'm just going to keep it on a Addams Family theme and recommend, if you've never seen any of their movies, go check out Hellbender. It was another one of those that was a mixed bag, kind of middle of the road. It's streaming on Shudder. It's a very slow burn of a film, but it has great moments in it that worked. But go check it out because they have a certain style to their movies that I think works with a lot of people and may not work with others. So check out Hellbender on Shudder and then watch Where the Devil Roams on Tubi, the Tubi original. I actually really enjoyed this one. This one is another slow burn, but it is kind of, I don't know. It's dark. I like the setting of it. It takes place in the past in the carnival circuit, and it's quite an interesting concept, and I love the way this one is paced and goes. So out of the two, between Hellbender, well, three, out of Hellhole, Hellbender, and Where the Devil Roams is probably my most recommended out of their films that I've seen. There are others I need to go watch. I want to check out their other films. But there you go. There are some other films that you can watch at home, along with Hellhole, which will be on Shudder. And that will do it for another chapter of Old Man Brad. Just make sure you subscribe to the show, and you will never miss any chapter, whether it's these reviews, interviews I do, or my series, Tales from Tubi. And I will be back soon with a brand new chapter. Coming up, I will have reviews on a new film called Broken Bird, as well as Don't Turn Out the Lights, plus many more. Just keep it right here at Old Man Brad, and make sure you subscribe and you'll never miss them. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.